Remember to record. Yay. All right, guys. So I sent out an agenda last night. Hopefully, you've had a chance to take a look at it. But for the first part of today, you're kind of lucky. You get to just sit back and relax while I tell you kind of what you're going to be doing for book clubs and go over a lot of things. And then there's going to be a part where you get to participate. And then from here on out, you're going to participate a whole lot. So, okay. In our district, we've been talking about something called enduring understandings. And to make that simpler, it's basically the big picture of what you're learning. And so the big picture is something that you're going to remember 40 years from now. You might not remember what the name of the character in the book is, but you're going to remember the big idea. So the big idea is that humans use strategy to construct meaning. And how that applies to our book is that we can use reading strategies to make meaning from our book. Okay. So I'm going to turn your microphones back on here in a second. One of the strategies that some of us have been working on, and sixth graders are a little different. You haven't worked on these as much as the other grade levels, but I'm going to send a bookmark out to you with a bunch of cool reading strategies that you're going to try to use every week. And you use them, you just sometimes maybe don't realize that you're doing them. But one to talk about is connections. And I'll turn your microphones on. Does anybody know what making a connection is? It's a reading strategy. Just really easily, it's relating to the book. And so has anybody heard of a text to self connection? Jack, go ahead. Where'd you go, Jack? There you are.
A text self connection is a connection that you connect with yourself, not with anything else.
Yeah. So it's how you relate to the book, something that happened to you that you read about that reminds you of your life. Text to text connection. Anybody want to take a guess at what that is? It's just real simply something in the book. Sorry, my cat's tail is in the way. That reminds you of a book that you've read before. Or maybe even a movie that you've watched. So it's text to text. Text to world connection is something that happens in the book that reminds you of something going on in the world. So maybe something that you've seen on the news, or just something that's going on in your community that reminds you of that. So that's just one of several different reading strategies that you're going to use to make meaning of your book. Okay. And as we go on, these are going to get easier and easier for you, but we have book club essential questions. So things that you need to be thinking about as you read. How does reading fiction, so fiction is made up stories, how does reading fiction help readers acquire factual information? Anybody want to take a guess at that? How does reading a fiction book help you learn about factual or real stuff? Well, this book is definitely going to help you do that because it is a fiction book, but it's based on a lot of factual information. So even though it's a made up story, you're still going to learn a lot about the past and a lot of facts about this time period. So, hey, Caitlin, good to see you. And Jacob, turn on your webcams if you can, because it's easier for me to call on you that way. Okay. Another essential question that as you read the book, you need to think about. How does time and place in history influence literature? So, how does the time and place that this book was written about influence the book and what you're learning? So, you're going to have a very specific time period that you're learning about in this book. And hi, Caitlin, give us a wave. Oh, now our webcam just went out. Okay. Hi there. Um, you have objectives, and objectives is just a fancy way of saying goals. So this is the part of the virtual classroom this morning where I'm just presenting and telling you what you're going to do, but don't worry, you're going to get to talk and participate soon. So your goals for the book club is number 1, to communicate with each other and, of course, with me. So goal number 1, we will communicate by sharing our thoughts, our questions, and ideas about the book. Our second goal is to collaborate with each other, work together to reach goals, and learn more about the theme and purpose of the novel. Our third goal is to think critically. So look at problems that come up in the text and ways that they relate to other topics in our life, and just ways that we think that we can solve those problems, creative ways. And speaking of creative, another goal we have is having meaningful projects that will show your creativity as we go through this book. So, any questions so far? Okay, we are quiet this morning, and that's okay. Jacob, your microphone's on. Can you turn your webcam on? I'll take that as a no. All right. Okay, guys. Let's talk a little bit more about what you actually have to do every week and what your assignments will look like. I've already emailed out your schedule as well as what these jobs are and how to make copies of the jobs. So you'll be getting all of that as soon as we're done with the virtual classroom. But I'm just going to kind of show them for you now so that if you have any questions, now would be the time to ask. Okay, so real quickly, you have this entire document. I've already sent it to you, but you're going to be reading chapters 1 through 4 this week. Okay, 1 through 4. You're going to come prepared next week with the job that you've been assigned, and I'll show you where you're going to figure out your jobs here in a minute. We have a really short vocabulary assignment, so you will come with those vocab words. And then you're going to make one connection. So that was the reading strategy that we just talked about, and I'll send out that bookmark as well. But you're going to have one connection to the book. Okay? Give me a thumbs up if that's making sense so far. Pretty easy? Caitlin, how are you feeling? You okay? All right, Ashley's good too. All right, moving on then. Time to actually see what these jobs are so that we can ask questions about them or just clear up anything. Alrighty, so you will, in your documents, receive all of these different jobs: the connector, discussion director, illustrator, quotable quoter, summarizer, and word wizard. And then you're also going to have a schedule. So let's look at the schedule. Okay, so I'm going to add Kaylee S to this list. Okay, and Kaylee, I'll assign your jobs in just a minute. But this is your schedule for when you are to do certain jobs. So let's just look at Simon. He's listed first. Next week, Simon is going to start off as the discussion director. So you can see October 8th, he's discussion director. Then we don't meet again until 10:25 because there's fall break. Okay, so after next week, you have fall break, so that takes up an entire week. And then you meet again on 10/25, which is not a Monday. That week it's a Thursday. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but not a big deal. But here's his second job. And then the following week is 10/29. Here's the next job he's responsible for, and so on. So you'll just find your name and just kind of trace it across, and so you'll know what you're doing every week. Does that make sense? Pretty easy. I mean, it's just a schedule telling you of when your jobs are. But now let's look at the jobs. Okay, let's start with the connector. Okay, so when you get this in your document, you're not going to be able to type on this. And I sent out a video showing you how to make a copy, but just really quickly, you're going to have to make your own copy of each of these jobs because we can't all type on the same document, then it would be ridiculous. You have to make your copy of it for yourself. So you'll go to File, Make a Copy, click OK, and then you come up here and you don't want it to be called Copy of Book Club Connector. You want to click on that and change it. And you're going to say whatever your name is. So let's just say Simon Driver, and let's just pretend that he was assigned this job on 10/8. There you go. So now you've made a document all for yourself and you'll be able to type right on it. Okay? All right, so let's go back. Am I going too fast for anyone? No? Okay. So as we go through these jobs, if you have a question, raise your hand, or Simon, type it into the chat. And yes, Ashley, I already sent them in your email, so you will see them in your Google Docs. As soon as you're off the virtual classroom, you could start looking. But first job is the connector. As you read whatever chapters you're assigned that week, your job is to find two connections between the book and the world outside. So this is really pretty easy since you have to make connections anyway. So you can make a connection to your own life, things that are happening in school or your neighborhood, things by the same author, things that are happening that are the same topic, just a connection that reminds you of something else. So you will make your connections and write them in complete sentences. So it's really simple. I would probably change the color, choose a different color and say, my first connection was blah, blah, blah. And then my second connection was, and then describe it, okay? So that is the very first job. Pretty easy. Any questions about connector? Okay. All right, let's look at some of the other jobs. Whoops. There we go. Discussion director. Okay. So when it's your turn to be the discussion director, you're going to write down 3 FAT questions. And FAT questions are simply questions that cannot be answered with a yes or no answer. Okay? So think about that. A FAT question will actually get the group talking. I'm sorry you can't hear me, Caitlin. Can everybody else hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so I don't know what's going on with your computer. I'm sorry about that. A FAT question cannot be answered with yes or no, and here are some easy ways to start a FAT question. If you start a question with the word why, how, or if, you're going to have a good question that we can actually talk about as a group. Okay, so for instance, why did the author write the book from the first person perspective? That's just an example. That's a question that we can all talk about together. It cannot be answered with a simple yes or no. Or a question like, How did the character make it out of her situation alive? That's a question that we can all actually discuss. So give me a thumbs up if that questions make sense to you. Pretty easy. They cannot be answered with yes or no. And so if this is your job, I would just come down here to the bottom, maybe change the color, and type in some questions for us to discuss. Okay, so that's that job. I'm going through these kind of fast, so you'll have to tell me if I'm going too fast or you don't understand, but this is a fun job. Everybody likes to be the illustrator. And you can draw in your reading notebook, or you can find pictures online. I don't care which you do. You can share your screen and show us the pictures that you found, searching the internet, or you can hold up your book up to the camera. Okay, and that's easy enough too. Okay, your job is to draw anything about the story that you liked or felt was important. It can be a character, the setting, an exciting part, a surprise. Maybe you want to draw a prediction of what's happening next or what you think will happen next. Other ideas that will help us talk about something. So just something else that you come across in the book that you want to illustrate. And then use an entire sheet of paper for it. So make it kind of big, okay? Because we're going to have to hold these up to our computer screen or share our screen. And so you don't want this tiny little, picture that no one can see. Remember to use color and write a caption. Do you know what a caption is? Give me a thumbs up if you know what a caption is. Okay, good. A caption just is right underneath your picture, and it just tells you something about your picture and why you chose to draw that. So here's a bunch of different examples of what you can illustrate. Pretty easy, I would say. That's probably one of the more exciting jobs. But let's move on to quotable quoter. Okay. Quotable quoter. You will pick two parts of the story, so whatever chapters you've been assigned. So you're going to pick two parts of the chapters that you read that you want to read aloud to the group. Some ideas would be if you come across a really good part, a really funny part, maybe a really scary part of the book, a really interesting part, or maybe you come across a paragraph that is really well written, like the description really gives you a good mental picture or something, and so you really want to read that paragraph. Oh, or a good description. Okay. You're going to have to give us the page number so that the rest of us can look it up and tell us why you picked those two sections of the book. So after you read your paragraph or whatever, you can say, I chose to read this part aloud because I thought it was really interesting. It was really interesting because I can't imagine a character ever doing this or that, and give us a little explanation as to why you chose those paragraphs. Is that easy enough? Yes, no, okay, thumbs up. I'm liking it. Good. All right. Ashley, we're looking very excited this morning. All right. Two more jobs. This one, you guys have made summaries basically your entire life, so this will be interesting. And Jack, it's not actually two chapters, it's just two parts of the book for that last job. So maybe two different paragraphs that you liked. Okay, for the summarizer job, your job is to prepare a brief summary of the section you read. So if I assign 4 chapters, you're going to give us a summary of those 4 chapters that you read. Your other group members are going to be counting on you to give the key points and main highlights of what you read that week. So if I were you, I would just change the color, come on right down here, change the color, and just type your summary right underneath there so that you're ready to share it. You could throw in a picture too, that'd be kind of cool. But any questions on the summarizer job? Nope. I'm going super fast, but we have a lot of things to cover. So if you are doing your job throughout the week and you have a question, you can always email me or chat me or whatever and ask a question about the job. Okay, last job. Word wizard. Okay. Word wizard. I'm going to be assigning everybody a couple vocabulary words, but the word wizard has to do 6 special words. So if I assign everybody 2 words, the word wizard has to come up with 4 more. Okay, because you can use the 2 that I assign you, but you have to come up with more. And they are special words that are new, different. Sorry, this isn't letting me scroll. Strange. There we go. Funny, interesting, important, hard, or whatever else comes to mind as far as an interesting word. You're going to have to tell us the page number you found it on, a definition in your own words, and tell us why you picked that word. So maybe you thought it was really funny, or you thought it was strange, or you thought it was really important to the story. Okay? Any questions on Word Wizard? No? All right, so I'm gonna just take a second for those kiddos who are in the virtual classroom with us, but don't have their webcam on. If you have a question, I want you to type it into the chat right now while I pull up the agenda. Because it's kind of hard for me to tell if Jacob or Simon has a question since they don't have their webcams. Okay. Whew, get some water here. I'm doing a lot of talking, but don't fear, you're going to get to talk in a second. Alrighty. Book club jobs. So we just talked about the different jobs. We're going to discuss some questions in just a minute. But for now, we're going to talk about these vocab words. Okay, good, Jacob. I'm glad. All right. So each of you will take 2 to 3 words, and then you're going to find them as you read chapters 1 through 4 this week. You're going to share the paragraph you found the word and what it means, okay? So I'm just going to make this really simple and assign them. And the kids who aren't here, don't worry, they're going to have words to find as well. So we'll have Tyler do the first couple. We'll have Kaylee do the next couple. Sorry, Kaylee. And you have this document, so if you forget what your word is, you can definitely go back and find it. We'll have Ashley do the next couple words. Sorry, it's going so slow, but when I have a bunch of different things running like I do, it just takes forever to scroll and whatever. Oops. Okay, so we got Jacob, and yes, I meant to italicize that. That's because it's a German word. And we'll have Simon do the next couple words. Simon knows German and he would like the German word. So I will give Simon the German word. So Jacob, I'm going to change your word and you're going to have those two instead. And then a couple kids who aren't here, I'm going to assign them the rest of the words. So don't worry about that. Okay, so all you have to do, you don't have to make some huge project or anything. All you need to do is tell us where you found the word and what it means. So when you come across it and you're reading, maybe just put a sticky note there or something and then tell us what the word means. Oh, sorry, Jack. Can't let Jack off the hook. Okay. Perfect. All right, guys, so we are going to do a couple discussion questions, and then we're going to end our session today with talking about learning earnings. So for now, this is the part where you get to participate. So those of you who don't have your webcams on, you're going to have to chat and say that basically you're raising your hand and you want to answer the question. The rest of you can just raise your hand and I'll call on you. Okay, here we go. First question's kind of easy. What is historical fiction? And what other books do you know that are this genre? So what is historical fiction? And then do you know of any other books that are this genre? So this is your chance now to actually participate. Tyler, go ahead. Let me turn your microphones on. Okay, Tyler. Tyler, you can go ahead and just say it verbally.
Okay, so a historical fiction book is a book that tells about history, but it's not exactly real. Like, it didn't happen,
That's
but
right.
it's historical.
That's right. And then Simon also said it's a make-believe story, but it takes place in a real time. So that's what I was talking about earlier. You're going to be reading a made up story, but you're still going to be learning about a real time and a real place in history. Okay? So that's historical fiction. Do you guys know of any other historical fiction books? Kay or Ashley?
The True Confessions of Charlotte Doyle.
Yes. Absolutely. Tyler?
Sudoku and the Thousand Paper Cranes.
Oh my goodness. Sudoku. I don't even know how to spell Sudoku. That's a Japanese word. But we'll just say 1,000 paper cranes. How about that? I always liked the book Witch of Blackbird Pond. That's another historical fiction book. Okay, moving on. We're getting a little bit harder with our question. And yes, Simon gave us a couple more good examples, but we'll move on. What is a symbol? What is a symbol? Jack.
A symbol is a shape or thing that represents you or represents a place or something,
Good.
like a flag.
Yeah, exactly. So it is a shape or maybe a picture or something that represents an idea or something else. So an example definitely would be a flag. The flag represents the United States. Um, we also see like very simple symbols all the time. Think of like those hood ornaments on a car, that represents a brand, right? That represents whatever the brand of the car is. Um, Other symbols. Any other examples you can think of? Well, in this book, you're going to be reading about a very important symbol called the swastika and what that meant. It was they took a symbol that actually comes from ancient, I think it was ancient Greece maybe, that meant something very good and they turned it into something bad. So, yep. And Simon said a symbol is an object that represents something else. Okay. Question number 3. What do you know? So this is background information, a text to self connection. What do you know about World War II? Anybody? Do you have any background knowledge on World War II? Ooh, we got one. Let's see. Okay, so here's a text. Sorry, Simon, I'm trying to cut and paste right now. Ah, well, whatever. I'll just type it in. We have somebody who their mom was born in Berlin, was split by the wall, and she saw it torn down. So there was a wall that separated East and West Germany, and that wall actually was torn down. I think it was in 1988, so definitely before you guys were alive. And I was about 8 years old. So do the math on that one. It was a long time ago. But yeah, so that wall represented some of the ideas that happened in World War II. So okay, moving on. You're going to learn a whole lot about some history and World War II from this book. What does freedom mean to you? Everybody should be able to answer this. What does freedom mean to you? Okay, I got one answer. Any other ideas? You could raise your hand because it's a little harder to take it from the chat because it takes a little longer. Okay, so we had a couple people answer that freedom is you're free to do what you want. You can do whatever you want to do. Ashley, what was your idea?
Say whatever you want to say.
Yes. So you're also going to see some examples of not being able to be free and free to study what you want or learn about what you're interested in, because they would actually tell people what they were allowed to do and what they weren't allowed to do. Jack, did you have another example? Jack? No? Okay, not sure. You are unmuted, Jack, so I'm not sure if you're trying to talk or not, but
I lost you for a second. But my example was you can go wherever you want.
yes. Yes, and you're going to read about in this book, people were definitely restricted from going where they wanted to go. Because if you were a Jewish person, they wouldn't let you into certain stores, they wouldn't let you into, obviously, schools. You couldn't go anywhere. basically. You definitely couldn't say what you wanted to say, and you definitely couldn't be free to go where you wanted to go. So, all right. A little bit more serious question. What makes a person strong or courageous? Because you're going to read about a character who is really strong, but what makes a person strong or courageous? Jack, go ahead.
What makes a person strong and courageous is themselves.
Okay. And I got an answer from somebody else, a personality, believing, sorry, I'm going to have to back up here, believing in yourself. And I got another answer. They have to stand up for themselves. Sorry. Have you guys ever noticed that sometimes Google Docs like freezes up and won't let you type and it's really annoying? Well, that's happening right now. So basically Simon's idea was that people have to stand up for themselves and do what they want to do. So that's being strong and courageous. Any other examples of what makes a person strong? Ooh, good idea, Kaylee. I like that. Standing up for others. That is often the hardest thing to do. Standing up for others. Or Ashley, sorry. Good. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Some of these questions, as you start to read, will get easier and easier. All right. Here's another good thinking question for you. Is strength emotional, physical, or spiritual? And where does strength come from? Are we born with it or do we just develop it? Okay, I'm going to take one answer. So it's all three. Jack, go ahead.
I think it's all three too, and I think we develop it.
Okay. So I'm seeing a lot of people saying that we develop strength. We're not just born with emotional and physical strength. Physical strength is really easy to talk about, right? Physical strength is, can you lift, a 10-pound dumbbell, whatever. It's easy to, measure how strong somebody is physically. But this book is going to show you how to be strong emotionally and spiritually. Spiritually just means you believe in yourself and you have something deep inside of you that you believe in. So that's what spiritual means in this sense. Does anybody have any ideas about whether we are born with it or if we develop it? No? So we kind of all agree that we develop it as we're faced with tough situations? Okay, so, all right, looks like we are ready to move on. So far, are there any questions on your book club jobs, your couple vocabulary words that you've been assigned, or anything else? No questions yet? Okay. All right. So if you're, doing your book club job throughout the week and something comes up, then then you can just definitely email me. So the book, if you haven't went out and got the book already, you need to like really soon because you have an assignment to read chapters 1 through 4 this week. And the book is called Number the Stars. Okay. Number the Stars. Alrighty, so let's kind of switch gears and talk about learning earnings. So today is a very important day. I'm sure you've seen the 8 million emails I've sent out about October Count Day, and that today you need to do an assignment in order to be counted. So I'm going to show you where the assignment is so that you can do an assignment, and then you have to submit some other piece of work of your choice as well. So you've got to do at least 2 things today. So let me just show you. You can go, sorry, and this is the 5th grade one. Let me show you 6th grade. To your home page. Okay, so 6th grade homeroom. Okay, so you'll go to your homeroom. Sorry, it moves kind of slow. We're getting there. Okay, scroll all the way down. And you're going to go to week 7 because this is week 7. Look at the dates, October 1st through 5th. Okay? Here's your ePortfolio, stage 2, by the way. But this is Monday, October 1st assignment. Do that today. Okay? You will earn 150 learning earning bucks for completing it today. So that's pretty cool news for you. And Jacob, if you're still with us right now, 5th grade has the exact same thing in your homeroom page. So it'll look the exact same, basically. I know, Jacob, I know you're not in 6th, but that's why I just told you that 5th grade looks the same. So don't worry about that. And anyway, so you're going to complete this and then choose one other assignment to do. I don't care if it's a math assignment, reading, science, whatever. Just do at least one other quiz or assignment today. So give me a thumbs up if that makes sense to you. Okay, you guys rock. Learning earnings. I was just telling you that you'll earn a bunch of money if you do something today. How many of you have got to sign into Learning Earnings yet and check out the website? No one? Okay, well, you're going to need to because this is where you're going to spend your money. And you spend your money on real things like movie tickets and food vouchers and like real things, not just like little yo-yos and stuff, like actually good stuff. So, Jack, you have something you want to share or are you just kind of, no? All right, cool. All right, so you will log in and you will use your username for both. Sorry, take it out. For both your username and password, use your username the first time around. Once you're in, then you can change your password. And I would change your password to your school password. So again, if your last name is Scoffle, maybe that's Kaylee's login. I'm not sure. She's going to type it in both places the very first time. Okay? Once she's in, she can change her password and change it to her regular school password. But this is where you're going to go to actually see how much money you have and to spend it. And you can save it up and get bigger and bigger prizes, or you can spend it every week. It doesn't really matter. It's however you want to do it. So, learning earnings. What are other things that you can earn money for? All of you, for attending today, are going to see $25 show up in your account. For participating, so not just showing up and sitting there, but especially next week when you actually have a job assigned to you, for having your job ready and participating, you're going to earn more money. For doing all of your weekly work, you're going to earn $50. If you do something exceptionally well, like I can tell you really put a lot of effort into it, you'll earn another $50. Miscellaneous just means maybe there's just something that you do that I notice. You can earn money for that as well. If you completed an assignment every day last week, you already have $100. And if you complete that quiz and something else today, you'll get $150. So, any questions on learning earnings? It's pretty cool. Like you actually get to buy real stuff with the money that I send you electronically. So, all right, guys. So this has been fun. Any other questions before I let you go? Jacob, the prizes, when you log in, you'll be able to explore the website, and then that's where you choose your prizes to spend it on. Okay? And I just got the question, do they mail you the prizes? No, they mail them to me, and then I get them to you. So if you go to a field trip or whatever, I give it to you then, or I'll just put it in the mail for you. Okay? All right, guys, this has been super fun. I cannot wait to see your assignments for next week. I'm going to be really, really excited for you guys to share your screens and to do some of the talking so that I can save my voice. And Ashley, your account, when you log in to the Learning Earnings website, you'll be able to see how much money you have in your account. Okay? All right, guys, it's been fun. Give me a wave goodbye. Bye. Bye, Jacob. See you next time. Bye, Simon.